Well, yesterday, Congresswoman Maxine Waters called for gathering together to harass, humiliate, and shame administration officials in public places. Take a look.
And so, let's stay the course. Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere. We've got to get the children connected to their parents. The children are suffering.
So before we go any further, there is nothing in what Maxine Waters said there that called for actual violence against administration officials, as Trump claimed in this tweet. She called for lawful, organized, First Amendment protected voiced displeasure toward the cruelty and general inhumanity of Donald Trump's administration, directed at those who intimately and voluntarily serve within it. Listen though, reasonable people can disagree about the propriety of organized groups of what could be effectively bands of harassers, following public officials to work, to home, and to restaurants. What isn't up for debate, though, is whether or not Congresswoman Walters called for violence. She didn't. So like I said, just because it's legal and nonviolent, doesn't mean that this is actually a good idea. First, it's unclear what would happen if people took this tactic seriously. Would this ultimately result in generalized chaos and a breakdown of our civil society? It's hard to know at this point. Secondly, Waters should be more politically aware of the fuel she offers to the Trump fire. These types of controversies are red meat for Trump and his allies. This tends to give them the cover that they seek. They are always looking for topics that will drown out the stories of their abuses with relatively minor stories like this. For instance, right now, people are paying attention to this Maxine Waters story. They are distracted, paying attention to that rather than the literal human rights abuses being systematically conducted at our southern border. You also need look no further than the comment section of many of our YouTube videos and on Facebook. It's all kinds of young conservatives trying to dunk on a libtard, and that is their first principle. There is a very real danger that taking Representative Waters' advice here could actually worsen our chances at electoral success. Look, I know how it feels good. It does feel good. It satisfies something primal within us. It's like instantly served justice. But, as Michelle Obama famously and wisely said about teaching her daughters to deal with hate, venom, and incivility of the right, when they go low, we go high.
That the hateful language they hear from public figures on TV does not represent the true spirit of this country. How we explain that when someone is cruel or acts like a bully, you don't stoop to their level. No, our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
So with all that said, the American right collectively has absolutely no standing whatsoever to complain about incivility. As a famous guy once said, quote, "You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." That was Jesus, by the way. Jesus Christ said that.
Sore loses! Sore loses! Shut the fuck up! Sore loses! Sore loses! Shut the fuck up!
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists.
It's not about you.
It's not about
Get out of my country. Get out.
This is
not
my,
about you.
I'm a U.S. citizen too.
Well, whatever. No, Univision, no. It's not about you.
It's not about you. It's about the United States.
Last night in South Carolina, while defending his debunked claim that he saw thousands of Muslims celebrate the collapse of the Twin Towers here in New York, he appeared to mock a reporter with a disability. Take a look.
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember. He's going like, I don't remember. Oh, maybe that's what I said. This was 14 years ago. They didn't do a retraction.
That reporter he is talking about is Serge Kovaleski, who now works for the New York Times. As you can see right there, he suffers from a chronic condition that impairs movement of his arms.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
He's not a war hero.
He's a war hero.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie
several...
O'Donnell.
For the record, it was well beyond Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, I'm sure it was. You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
I was in Chicago last week. I said, hey, Obama, you might want to suck on one of these, you punk. You don't get that. Obama, he's a piece of shit. And I told him to suck on my machine gun. Let's hear it for him.
And get everybody you know to get involved and engage, because it isn't the enemy that ruined America. It's good people who bent over and let the enemy in. If the coyote's in your living room pissing on your couch, it's not the coyote's fault. It's your fault for not shooting him.
On a daily basis. But I have obviously failed to galvanize and prod, if not shame, enough Americans to be ever vigilant not to let a Chicago communist-raised, communist-educated, communist-nurtured, subhuman mongrel like the Acorn community organizer gangster Barack Hussein Obama to weasel his way into the top office of authority in the United States of America.
White nations! White nations! Now we start the deportation!
Now we start the deportation!
White nations!
White nations!
Close borders!
Close borders!
Now we start the deportation!
Now we start the deportation!
You're on, gentlemen.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Blood and soil! 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 Blood and soil!
Bye-bye. Look, see, he's smiling. See, he's having a good time. I love the old days, you know? You know what I hate? There's a guy totally disruptive. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. And he's walking out, and we're not allowed, you know, the guards are very gentle with him. He's walking out like big high fives, smiling, laughing, like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
So those clips were seriously the result of about 5 minutes of searching on YouTube. So where are the people who are calling for civility in politics on the right? Huh? Where are they? There are people literally threatening and glorifying violence, including Donald Trump himself, and screaming about white nation, Jews will not replace us, and blood and soil. Where is Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell? Where are they? They talk a big game when Maxine Waters calls not for violence, but for protest. But when it comes to their dear supreme leader, it's crickets. Complicit hypocrites, every one of them. What they really want is for the left to be civil, not general political civility. Now look, let's not confuse incivility, though, with truth and facts. Calling Donald Trump a liar when he lies is not uncivil. Calling his chief domestic policy advisor, Stephen Miller, a white nationalist isn't uncivil. It's true. Comparing the detention of children in what are effectively internment camps to what happened in the 1940s is not uncivil. And lastly, peaceful protesting Donald Trump and his administration and his policies isn't uncivil, it is patriotic. Get involved. As always, Thanks for joining in on the conversation. Follow me on Twitter, like us on Statesmith over on Facebook, and of course, subscribe to YouTube. Thanks a lot, everybody.